Americans panic as most gas stations run out of fuel in 2023. In a shocking turn of events, it seems that the majority of gas stations across America have run out of fuel. Panic and chaos have erupted as people rush to find any remaining gas for their cars. In this video, we will delve into the reasons behind this unprecedented shortage and what it means for the future of transportation in the United States. Stay tuned to find out more. While the largest petroleum pipeline in North America struggles to recover from a cyber attack that has rendered it inoperable for several days, gas stations along the east coast of the United States are beginning to run out of fuel. As supplies in the area continue to drop and panic purchasing begins to set in, gas shops are claiming that they have sold out of gasoline all the way from Virginia to Florida and Alabama. The White House said that they were aware of the shortages that were occurring in the southeast region of the nation and were working to find a solution to the issue. Colonial Pipeline Co. has only been able to manually run a tiny portion of the pipeline as a temporary solution 4 days into the crisis, and the company does not anticipate being able to fully restore service until the weekend. At that moment, there is a possibility that motorists or airplanes will already be experiencing significant gasoline shortages, and refineries along the Gulf Coast may be forced to cease operations since they would have nowhere to store their product to be processed. Because of the interruption, average retail prices for gasoline in the United States have reached their highest level since the end of 2014, and they are very close to reaching $3 a gallon. In the context of rising costs across the board for commodities ranging from lumber to copper, this might contribute to wider inflationary pressures. The Colonial Pipeline is the most major conduit in the United States for the distribution of gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. It transports these goods from refineries located on the Gulf Coast to metropolitan regions all the way from Atlanta to New York and farther beyond. It connects more than 20 refineries with over 200 distribution centers and transports approximately 2.5 million barrels per day, which is more than the amount of oil that Germany consumes on a daily basis. Access to the essential conduit has been denied. Because the Colonial Pipeline is no longer operational, many towns and airports are forced to search for alternate sources of supply. These may include the importation of petroleum in tankers or, if they are landlocked, the reliance on trucks. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, identified a ransomware group known as DarkSide as the party responsible for the attack. There was no sign that the present situation may boil over onto the international stage, despite the fact that cyber attacks are increasingly being employed throughout the globe as a weapon against geopolitical adversaries. Despite the fact that there is information suggesting that the hackers or the software they used are in Russia, Vice President Joe Biden did not point the finger of blame at the Kremlin for the assault. Dmitry Peskov, a spokesperson for the Kremlin, told reporters that Russia was not involved in the hack in any way. Colonial's chief executive officer Joe Blount and a top lieutenant gave assurances to the Deputy Energy Secretary David Turk and officials at the state level that the company has complete operational control of the pipeline and that it will not restart shipments until the ransomware has been neutralized. During a briefing, Ann Neuberger, who serves as the Deputy National Security Advisor for Cyber and Emerging Technologies, said that Colonial has not been instructed by government authorities as to whether or not it should pay the ransom. In the meanwhile, gasoline supplies are decreasing just as the energy sector throughout the country was getting ready to meet increased demand for fuel as a result of increased summer travel. Americans are starting to make their way back to work and are making travel plans once again. As the first indication of a possible interruption to air travel, American Airlines Group, Incorporated said that it will be modifying 2 long-haul routes that begin in Charlotte, North Carolina, in order to add fuel stops. These routes are the ones that are most likely to be affected. The Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport will serve as a stop for planes en route to Hawaii, while the Logan International Airport in Boston will serve as a stop for flights en route to London. A representative for Philadelphia International Facility said that the airport has enough jet fuel to last a couple of weeks, despite the fact that jet fuel reserves are being depleted by airlines flying out of the airport. According to a letter from an industry expert, FGE, the interruption is causing a loss of around 1.2 million barrels per day of gasoline supply throughout the east coast of the United States. Aubrey Clements, a cashier at an ExxonMobil Corp station in Asheville, North Carolina, answered the phone by saying, "Hello, I'm currently out of gas." According to an employee working at the Marathon gas station in Elizabethtown, North Carolina, there were around 25 vehicles in line to purchase gasoline. Drivers coming into a station with a sign selling unleaded gasoline for $2.649 per gallon in Manning, South Carolina, were confronted with pumps covered with yellow and red out-of-service bags. Patrick DeHaan, an analyst for GasBuddy, said that around 7% of the gas stations in the state of Virginia were reported to be out of gasoline. According to a participant in the meeting who was not authorized to speak publicly about the discussion, Blount stated in an 18-minute virtual meeting that Colonial is working to prevent shortages by cooperating with refiners, marketers, and retailers. This information was obtained from a person who was involved with the meeting. According to the individual, the pipeline provides service to 90 United States military sites as well as 26 oil refineries. The suspension has resulted in frantic activity on the part of merchants and dealers as they seek to source alternate suppliers. As a result of refiners frantically searching for ships to store gasoline that has nowhere else to go, oil tanker charter costs surged in the United States. As a result of the anticipation that supplies will start piling up in the nation's oil refining nexus, emergency shipments of gasoline and diesel from Texas are already on their way to Atlanta and other cities in the Southeast via trucks. At the same time, at least 2 refineries on the Gulf Coast have begun to reduce their output. The spread between retail and wholesale prices of gasoline in the New York region reached its biggest point in the last 3 months. This incident is merely the most recent example of ransomware attacking essential infrastructure. There has been a recent uptick in the number of attempts made by hackers to get into key facilities like power grids and hospitals. The growing threats spurred the White House to react last month with a proposal to tighten security at utilities and their suppliers. Because pipelines play such an important part in the economy of the United States, this issue is of particular significance. In situations of ransomware, hackers plant networks with harmful software that encrypts the data and locks the devices until the victims pay the extortion charge demanded by the hackers. This would be the most significant assault of its sort ever carried out against a gasoline pipeline in the United States. In a message published on the dark web, DarkSide claimed that it was not responsible for the assault and suggested that it may have been carried out by one of its affiliated groups. The organization made a commitment to improve the screening process for clients who purchased their virus. Gina Raimondo, the Secretary of Commerce for the United States of America, said that it's an all-hands-on-deck effort right now. We are working closely with the firm, state, and local authorities to ensure that there are no interruptions in supply and that they get back up to regular operations as fast as possible. According to an individual, the White House has assembled a task team comprised of representatives from many government agencies in order to investigate the security breach and investigate potential solutions to mitigate its effects. It is possible for Biden to activate a variety of emergency authorities in order to guarantee that supplies will continue to flow to major cities and airports located along the East Coast. In order to better manage potential gasoline shortages, some restrictions on the movement of fuel throughout the country have been loosened. This does not include relaxing the Jones Act, which is a regulation that prevents foreign tankers from assisting in the transportation of additional petroleum products between ports in the United States. If the pipeline continues to be shut down for an extended period of time, the Northeast may be able to get gasoline cargoes from Europe, but doing so will come at an increasingly high expense. In the meanwhile, manufacturers of gasoline such as Marathon Petroleum Corp are considering various alternatives to the traditional methods of transporting their goods to the Northeast. According to Steve Boyd, Senior Managing Director of Houston-based distributor Suncoast Resources, cities that do not have access to waterborne supplies are at a greater risk of experiencing gasoline shortages than are towns that do have such access. He is preparing for a huge rush in orders in the event that the pipeline remains out of service for many more days. Thank you for joining us as we explored the gas shortage crisis in America. We hope that this video provided some insight into the causes of the shortage and the potential impacts it may have on the country. Remember to stay informed and to always have a backup plan in case of emergencies. Until next time, stay safe and keep an eye out for updates on the gas situation. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date on our latest content. Until next time, have a great day.